In my last video, I made the props for a cosplay contest that I'm going to enter in a few months. They're over there. Now I need to make the actual clothes part. So that's what we're doing today. In case you didn't watch the last video, I am making Marcille from Delicious Intention. This little elf lady here. So for her clothes, there's 3 parts. There's the main dress that she wears. There's the capelet with a hood, and then there's some pants, which are called Harem pants, I think is the name for those. So we need to make these. I have no patterns. I'm going to be drafting this myself. The pants and the cape seem somewhat easy. The dress, a little bit more complicated. So we're going to start with the pants. We're going to just jump straight into this because we get a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it in. For fabrics, I have been collecting fabrics for this costume for a couple months. Actually, I collected them a couple months ago. I kind of keep a running list of projects that I want to do so that when I do go to the fabric store and I happen to see the right fabric I need for that project, I'll grab it. Or if I see it at like an estate sale or something. So I've had these fabrics for a little while now. Here we go. For the pants, I have this. I think it might be like a linen cotton blend. That's for the pants. For the dress, I love this. The color's perfect. I got this, which is like a really, really short pile velvet. But that's excellent. Adds like really excellent texture. Excellent. Radical. Tubular. Not playing with you today, son. So this is the main body of the dress. And then for the little capelet, I have this, which is kind of the only fabric I don't really love, but it is like the right color. This is definitely polyester. Oh yeah. This is the gold that goes on the bottom of the cape. And I think they're the same type of fabric because they have a really similar drape. But all these look really nice together. I'm genuinely like proud of my past self. Like, good job. Good job, babe. Anytime I go to the used bookstore, I always look through their fashion/crafting section and pick up any fashion books that I happen to find. Which is how I ended up with my little library here. But I have this book, Pattern Making by Joanne Powell and Carol Foley. There's no instructions for harem pants, but I do have flared gaucho pants that we can just gather the bottom of the gaucho pant and put a cuff on it. Easy. I think for the back, because I do want these to be comfortable and you don't see the top of these pants at all. We'll keep the darts in the front, but we're going to take the darts out of the back and add elastic and a zipper. That way, that'll keep these pants fitted up at the top, but comfortable in case there's any, fluctuating weight happening. It's been a little bit of an issue for me lately. So that'll work out. But first I need a pant pattern, and we're not making a pant bodice today. That is a different video, and that is not anytime soon because that I don't want to do and I'm dreading. So maybe one day, but not today is not the day. So I'm just gonna take a basic pant and then fix the measurement so that it goes over my butt, and we're gonna leave it kind of there, really. So let's get started. The gaucho pants were easy to make. Taking my basic pant pattern, I make 2 lines going down the length of the pants and use the slash and spread method, adding about 8 inches of width to each of the pant pieces. Then all I need to do to turn the gaucho pants into harem pants is gather the bottom and add a cuff. Okay, I have the first mock-up. A couple issues. So, first one being, it sits weird. Like it's not quite my hips, but it's not my waist. So I think I need to extend this up, but I don't really need to do it in the back. Second thing, super easy, or way easier fix, is that they're entirely too long. So I have it all kind of bunched up right here. There's a good like 6 inches of fabric I need to take out. I feel like that's a really good shape. And something I did, hold on, because I really want it to like stay poofed out. So I just kind of have, excuse me, some tulle in there. I really do think the tulle helps. kind of it. I'm gonna move the camera up now so that I don't have to stand like a gremlin. Measure how much I actually need to take out. Like 8 inches. I don't have to squat anymore. I don't know why I bent over. I need to take 8 inches out from the length. I'm not really sure how to add a pocket for that tool except to give the whole pant a lining. Okay, I don't have to make decisions about the lining and the poofy bottom pant part just yet. Let's fix our pattern first. The pants were way too long, so we just need to cut a chunk of about 6 inches or so out of the middle. Tape the pieces back together and trim the sides. Fixing the front center seam was also fairly easy, making a slash through the top of the pants, leaving a tiny hinge on the side seam, then opening it up about 1 inch and taping it back down. Okay, I have some pants, but I also have some weird pants. Okay, this is gonna be the lining, and I put this little like tool puff to help keep the bottom of the pants kind of puffed out, but not like so structurally that it looks weird, hopefully. These pants are also 1 inch shorter than these pants. The idea being that when I sew these pants to these, it will pull the bottom of the outside pants up to help keep the shape. Ideally, that's supposed to be what happens. So only one way to find out, right? I really love making costumes from 2D images, like cartoons and stuff, because 2D art doesn't have to follow the laws of the world and can just be as magnificent as you want them to be. But then you have to figure out how to make that in real life. So that's fun. Oh, also the white pants are just like straight leg pants. They're not the harem pants that I made, but the bottom tool part is like the bottom half of the harem pants. Maybe I should have showed that, but I'm gonna sew these together and let's see how they look. So the pants are done and it worked out really well. The only issue is the twist. Somehow managed to twist up the lining on this one when I sewed it in. It's really uncomfortable. But hey, look at that. Look at that. Man, that's stupid. So guess I'm gonna fix that and then start working on the cape. Why have you done this to me? To start me off on the cape, I make a full circle paper pattern and try it on. Decided it was a little too much volume and I took out about a 1/4 circle. Then cut that out of my fabric twice because it's going to be fully lined. And since some of it was cut on the bias, we need to let it hang for at least a day to give it time to fall if it's going to. We have our cape, both the outside and lining layer. It's been hanging up for like 2 days now, so any falling it was gonna do, it should have done already. And then, oh, I also forgot to mention that, do you guys happen to remember the chicken pants? Those were a prototype for these. That's not how I was gonna make these pants, chicken pants. Anyways, and then slight update from the previous episode where I talked about the book casing being too tight. Somebody mentioned in the comments of the last video that you can stretch it, and I was like, duh, of course you can. I totally forgot that that's a thing you can do with leather. So I have taken the book and I've covered it with some cardboard and then wrapped it in plastic and then got the inside of the book cover, book casing all wet and shoved this down in there. So ideally, I'm gonna let this set for a few hours and then take it out, and then hopefully when it dries, it'll dry larger and the book will fit nicely. But that's why this looks gross, is because it's wet. A little bit more wet here than it is here. That's why you can see it. But yeah, hopefully that works. Back to the cape, because I really want to finish this today. There are a few things in Marcille's cape design that we need to note. The first one being there's 2 seams in the front of the blue part of the cape and then one seam in the yellow part. I don't know why. That's really, I didn't think she would have just continued that line down, but nope, no. And then on the seam that goes through the yellow one, there's some hand stitching that goes up. So we need to replicate that. And then there's the red tie. And I think I have a solution for this. As I was brainstorming, like, how do you make ribbon just like stay perfect every time? Because if you tie it, it's just gonna be tied and it's gonna lay how it wants to lay. So I have this nice velvet ribbon, and for the tie on the front of the cape, and there's also one in her hair, I'm going to take two pieces and glue them together and sandwich between them a piece of wire. Yeah? So I'm gonna close the cape with a hook and eye and then have these in front of that, and that way I can kind of like twist them together and then put them in the right position. So they'll stick out the way that it does in the anime. I feel clever. We'll just take a piece of ribbon and put a bar and hook on it, and then that's the necklace. Easy. I really like this red ribbon. It's really pretty. Continue on with the cape. So we need to trim this down to size. And because this goes over my shoulders, you can't just lay this down flat and trim everything the same size, because then this part will be shorter than this part. So I really have to figure out the length while it's on me, which is not super easy to do alone. After trimming the cape to the right length, it's time to add the yellow trim on the bottom. I could have just made bias tape, but I really enjoy going above and beyond and just making things difficult for myself. It's like a little hobby within a hobby. So I trace the bottom of the cape on paper and then add 2 inches, which is how long I want the strip to be. Then add 1/2 inch of seam allowance to the top and bottom. Why didn't I just add 3 inches and be done with it? Please go back and listen to the earlier statement. Pin it all together, sew it all up, and press all the seams up. Ta-da! I really like the body of this fabric and how it kind of just like holds its shape. You know, like right here, it's like, it doesn't just limp, it's not limp. Now we need to mark where the seams are. I don't know what to do with this mic. My necklace. Nice. First, we have our seam allowance. Oh, this is weird. Okay. Okay, so we have our seam allowance, and then looking at our photo, there's just like a little bit of strip here for placement. It is about like 1.5 inches. Put it right there, and then the other one is about 5 inches. Let me take this off and then make the lines. Chop it up and sew it down. This feels really silly, but I cut the chunks from the front, seam ripping the yellow off the cut that is closest to the center, and then sew them all back together with a very narrow seam allowance. Press the seam open and sew the yellow part back on. For the hand stitching part, black thread felt a little too powerful or like attention grabbing, so I went with a dark gray thread. I tried to keep the stitches somewhat even, but wasn't too careful with it as I did want it to look hand stitched. Ta-da! And we have a cute little hand stitched seam, and then our seam, the little funny seam that doesn't go all the way through. Pretty pleased. It's looking good. Before I put the lining on, I need to make the hood. Now, I have this other cape that was just a throw together thing that I did for Baba Yaga, but I do really like the hood. I like the way it sits and how wide it is. It's a 3-piece hood, and then it sits nice in the back too. So I'm gonna take this hood apart and make a little pattern out of it. Also, I think I ruined my bookcase with the water, because look what it did. The part that was the wettest did this. Look at this. Why? Why? Why has it done this to me? It's such a bummer. I made myself a honey lavender latte. Oh, it is good. It's so good. Let's get this hood on. After taking the hood apart, I used the pieces as a pattern, cutting 4 of the side piece and 2 of the center pieces. Sew those up, making 2 hoods, and then sew the hoods right side together around the outside, leaving the bottom open. And then I go back and understitch it at some point, but I didn't get footage of it. Look! Isn't this so cute? I just need the hook and eye so that this isn't the only thing holding it together. I'm really so pleased with this. The pants are turning out perfect. The cape is perfect. Now it's time for the dress. And since everything is perfect so far, you know what that means. Yep. I think the dress is gonna show us who's boss. But I got ideas. I got some ideas. I'm really excited with how this is turning out. It's so cute. Now we need to pattern the dress. We'll figure it out on the patterning table. Yes. Trying to figure out how the dress was going to be made was a puzzle. Instead of wasting a ton of paper, I decided to do a little tiny version to figure out how the pleating was going to work. This was a lot of me folding and unfolding and cutting and moving bits of paper around until I figured out something that seemed like it might work. So I'm a very visual person, and I needed to figure out how to put the skirt of this dress together. So I'm gonna keep the bodice front and skirt front one piece. That one piece is gonna look a little weird. So it's gonna look like this. I didn't do it on this side, so just ignore that. And then there's another skirt piece. So what happens is this gets folded in like that. And then this piece gets sewn to here. And then that also gets folded to give me this, if that makes sense. I don't know how well you could see that, but so now it's just a matter of actually patterning that out. So let's actually make this into a bigger piece and then make a mock-up of it to make sure it works. This feels like it's gonna work. I just hope I have enough fabric. Because I don't know how much I bought and I cannot, like that's, oh God, I wonder if I can iron it. Because it's like a velvet, but it's a really short pile velvet. So I'm gonna cut off a piece and see what it does when I put it under the iron. Let's get to pattern drafting. Even with my little paper pattern, this was still a long process of folding, drawing, unfolding, redrawing, folding, adding more paper, and it goes on and on. I cannot adequately explain this well enough for someone else to recreate it. I'm not gatekeeping, I'm just not that eloquent. But then after I do figure it out, I spill a big old drink on my very thin paper, which really sets the tone for how this dress is going to go. Mock-up is made. I think I did a really good job. Okay, so this side is sewn, this side is not, which makes it really floppy. So we're definitely gonna sew it down just a little bit here. And then I do have the pants on so that I could see how the bottom opens with the pants. And I think it's perfect. The front, the neckline is a little too high, so we're gonna bring it down just a little bit. But yeah, other than that, I think it came out really good. Kind of impressed. So I'll make those adjustments to the pattern, and then we need to do a sleeve, and then we can actually cut it out. Let's draft a sleeve. Taking a basic sleeve pattern, I trace out a general shape in the mirror and take it back over to the table to clean it up. Make a quick mock-up to see how it fits. We need to round out the ends some more, make the sleeve longer and wider because it's too tight over my big old guns. Take it back to the table to make the alterations to the pattern and then make a second mock-up. Okay. I think this looks good. I'm gonna round it out just a little bit more, just like on this side, but I think we're ready to cut it out. Ooh, that's exciting and scary. And then the only way I could think to close this is with a zipper in the back. Because in the anime, there's no You never see her getting undressed. So that's the only thing I could think to do is just a zipper in the back. I'll probably do an invisible zipper. This also needs a lining, so I gotta figure that out. The only place it's gonna be like visible at all is probably gonna be in the sleeve and not like super, you'll just kind of be able to like see it peeking a little bit. So I need to make sure it kind of matches, which I don't think I have anything that is anywhere near that color, but maybe just like a black would be good. Let's get it cut out. I just learned I don't have enough fabric, like at all. What in the heck was I thinking when I bought this? I think I only bought 2 yards. What? I'm devastated. Genuinely gutted. I was so in love with this fabric. It was so perfect. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. It's been months since I bought this fabric, and first off, I don't remember what store I bought it from. It's one of 3, but they all carry kind of like dead stock fabric. So there's a really good chance I won't find this. Like 80% that it's just gone forever. So, oh my God. Everything was going so well. Absolutely devastated. Take my little swatch, go to the fabric store, see what I come up with. I found it. I can't believe it. Shocked. Shocked. Now, the fabric store is not close to me at all, so I'm really glad I got started pretty early this morning because that took up like half of my day. Pretty late now, but it was worth it because I got it. I was really attached to this fabric. I did not want to choose another one. That's all. Let's cut this out. Okay, everything is cut out with fabric to spare, but the first thing we're gonna do is put in our zipper because it's a lot easier to put in a zipper when everything is flat than trying to put it in at the end. If you would like a tutorial for how to install a very simple, no fuss invisible zipper, check out this video, but I'm not gonna show how to do it again. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the zipper in. What is that? What did she say? Oh, it's the most beautiful invisible zipper you've ever seen. Stop. I know. Okay, with the zipper installed, now we can just sew everything up. I think I have an idea for the bottom hem, but I don't quite know how to do it. Let's sew it all up and then we can do the pleating and figure out the hem situation. I feel like I'm not thinking something through and I'm gonna get to that step and be like, oh no. So you know how when like one thing goes wrong, it kind of just opens the floodgates? Well, because this is velvet, the pile has a direction and I have managed to cut 2 of the 4 panels in the wrong direction. I don't know how well this is reading on the camera, but it feels in person like it's a big difference. So the pile is going this way on this one, like up, and the pile is going down on these side panels. So there's like a tone difference where the middle one looks darker than the 2 side panels. If this weren't for a contest, I would just be like, who cares? Everything really was going just too smooth. I think I'm gonna redo the front and back pieces and just redo the zipper. I feel like it's better if the pile goes down. Makes more sense. It's fine. I love putting in zippers. So I'm just gonna sit on the floor for a little while, think about it. Okay, after just a little bit of pouting on the floor, pulled myself together and pieced everything out, and now everything is cut out the right direction, and I have sewn my zipper back in. Ooh. Ah, zipper. Now I'm almost back to where I was when I threw a fit. Now I need to sew the front pieces together, and these pieces have a really weird shape because this is where the pleating will happen. So they'll get sewn together. They'll get sewn together like normal up here, and then we'll stop the stitch and then put these two pieces together here and then sew down. And then the side pieces are sewn together normally. These are the front piece, and the front side pieces are the only ones that have that weird shape. So we're gonna sew everything together. Ready? Ready. Let's do that. The pleating for this dress was more difficult than I thought it would be. I struggled to make everything sit correctly, and I basted down the pleats out of frustration. I quit filming at some point because it was a lot of me doing something and then undoing what I just did and then trying it again and again. Making progress. I like the way I'm doing the lining. So I just have it pinned right now, but the lining is shorter than the dress. So I just folding the dress over, under and up. So there's going to be a lot of the blue underneath. So when they go to flip the seams, it'll be really tidy, and then the lining won't start for quite a few inches. I did, however, make the lining too short. Yeah, I think it needs to be like an inch or two longer, making a lot of really easily avoidable mistakes. So I will have to cut it out again. Everything's coming up Millhouse. I kind of don't want to work on this anymore today, but I also don't have a lot more time to work on it, so I guess I'm gonna push on. Let me fix the lining and get back to where we are right now, and then we can finally pleat the front of this skirt. Okay, so it's really late and I don't feel like setting up my lights, so lighting looks really bad. And I think I'm just too hungry, but I can't figure out how to turn this dress right side out. It just turns into a circle. I don't understand. I thought I could just, what am I doing wrong? I was really trying to get this done today because I have to work the next few days, so I'm not gonna be able to work on this for like 4 days. So, but the 2 brain cells that I normally have working overtime are gone. I think my cats have them. So I'm just gonna put this down and get some food. I'll see you in like 4 days. Goodbye. Making this dress has been just a real wild ride. I cannot remember the last time. I can see these hairs in my peripheral. It's driving me crazy. I cannot remember the last time I struggled this much with something. On this mannequin, this looks perfectly fine. Like it looks how it's supposed to. The way I did the lining is the way that I was trying to do the lining, but I don't really know what happened. When I put this dress on with the pants, it pushes this out, and then just like the folds get weird, and it just will not sit right, and then it like opens up in a strange way. It just doesn't work. And it's also like 3 inches too short, I think. Probably like 2. It's just slightly shorter than I want it to be. And if that were the only issue, I would probably just let it go. But since it's too short, and then also it does, does something weird in the front, and it just doesn't sit right. So I'm gonna take the lining off again. I also think this is like sitting out this way because it's so thick down here. This has been a struggle. The rest of this project was going so well. Even the majority of the accessories that I made in the last video went really well. I had slight issues with the book, but not as much as I'm struggling with this dress. Whew, boy. this dress. Also, there's this like right here, how it like is trying to pull this. So I think I'm just gonna undo most of the seams in the front, but I have this sewn, and then when I came up to meet the part of the bodice up here, it's like doing something weird. So I might undo it all and then resew it together. Plan is to unpick the lining and then just take a strip of like, I don't know, 5-inch wide of the lining fabric, sew it to the bottom of the lining, do a double fold on the dress, and then hand stitch the lining to the bottom of the dress. Because I don't want any top stitching on the dress. So, oh, and we also need to put the sleeves on, but please don't let the sleeves be like a whole thing. I cannot take something like messing up so thoroughly again. I will throw it out the window. I will. Okay. But I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna do the things I just said, and then we can come back and do the sleeves, because I feel like this video is getting way out of hand. It is so long. My shirt kind of sums up how I feel today. So let's go. The dress is done, mostly. We just need to add the sleeves, which I have finished. They are fully lined and understitched and pressed and looking very cute. So now we just need to put them on the dress. I'm so done with this. There's just a few minor things I need to do. Some of them is just hand stitching the lining to the shoulder sleeves and then onto the back where the zipper is, and adding in the leather crosses. There's like some leather stitching here on the sleeves in the front of the skirt part. But that's it. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm a little worried about the neckline now, because you see how it's like doing this? I might have stretched it out when I put the sleeves in, but I won't know until I try it on. So I guess it's time to go to the reveal. A couple things before we go. I'm going to be doing a Q&A video soon. So if you would like to ask me any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And while we're in the comments, you might as well go ahead and like. And if you aren't already, subscribe, because that's what you do on YouTube. And it, helps out the creator a bunch to have more subscribers. And then YouTube goes, oh, hey, this person's good. Let's show them to more people. Reveal time. I started to get undressed, forgetting that I needed to film the outro. So there are some issues. The first one being, remember when it was all done and I was like, oh, I might have stretched the shoulders out. I don't know. We totally stretched the shoulders out. And granted, I have not sewn the lining right here to the sleeve seam. So maybe when I do that, it'll sit a little bit better, but as it is right now, it is sitting very, very weird, and I don't know if I can fix it, past the lining thing. I still need to add the leather strips that go here and on the dress right here. I was trying to just shove them through the fabric, and the strips I have are really thick. So I bought some grommets, so I'm gonna grommet them, but I just wait for the grommets to come in. Pants and cape, totally perfect. Dress, almost. Got so close. But that's all for me. I have an idea for my next video that's very goofy. And I think a Q&A would fit in really well with it. So if you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments below, or I made a post on them, post about it on my community page. You can leave comments over there wherever you feel like it, or you can find me on Instagram and message me there. Whatever you want. That's all I got, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye. I hit record, but I don't know what I'm gonna say. I think I just like projected a little bit of spittle. Bitty bitty bum 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 bum. Weird sounds. Oh, my knees! Oh God! Oh, 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 oh God!